Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you see here, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe to stick around to see what I have coming up next. Other than that, let's just get into the video. The main purpose of this video is me coming on and talking about whether I would recommend this bad boy here. I'm doing a final review on it. In the first video, I did my initial impressions and why I purchased it. I realized I didn't do swatches in that video, so I will do swatches in this video. Just a quick rundown of what is in this set. You open it up and you get a giant mirror. The eyeshadows are on top. And then the side opens. There's a removable palette with a contour, a brush, and a highlighter. I'm sorry, a blush and a highlighter. Then you get a brush, a lip gloss, and a mascara, which I use, so it's sitting out over here. There are 24 eyeshadows in this kit. The first two rows are pretty neutral, and the bottom two rows have a bit more color in them. Not very bright, more like jewel toned. There's a nice mix of satin, matte, shimmer, metallic shadows in here. Each eyeshadow is 1 gram. That's a little bit more than you get in the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette, but it's a little bit less than I have in my Viseart Dark Matte palette. So I would say it's like middle of the road. 1 gram I feel like is pretty good for a holiday palette. And also compared to the other two holiday eyeshadow kits that I got, it's the middle of the road between those as well. And in watching more YouTube videos and watching more reviewers, I learned that how I was swatching wasn't very accurate in how a shadow would perform with a brush, which is kind of fine with me because especially for my all over lid color, I like to use my finger anyway. What I had been doing was I would take my finger and I would dig into the color like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times. And then I would swatch it and I would be like, ooh, very impressed, such pigment. But then watching people, I learned you should either swatch with a brush, or if you are going to swatch with your finger, just take 1 swipe and then swipe it on your arm. I don't know if you can see that. It's not that it's not necessarily pigmented. It's just that it's not nearly as purple. And then with a brush, it's even less. So I was in the store digging my finger into all of the colors and doing this and talking and raving about how beautiful I thought they were. But then as you can see, when you swatch properly, they actually aren't that impressive. For the swatches, I'll be doing finger swatches on my right hand and brush swatches on my left hand. For the brush, I'll be using this Lottie London synthetic shader brush that I got in an Ipsy bag, just because this is the kind of brush that I like to use to apply color either onto my lid or into my crease before I blend it out. So it's just the most useful brush for me to swatch with. And in between, I'll be taking my BH Cosmetics color switcher type thing so that the colors don't mix together. As you can see, this palette is wildly inconsistent. The top 2 rows perform awfully. There's no way around it. The light mattes are so chalky. They hardly show up on my skin at all. I can't imagine that they would show up on anybody's skin because they're just so brick hard. They really remind me of like drugstore eyeshadows before drugstore stepped their game up. I have had better matte eyeshadows from the drugstore. And the metallics in the first 2 rows aren't varied enough that they look different on my skin tone. They all just kind of look pinky silvery, which is fine. I just don't need 4 colors like that. The bottom 2 rows perform beautifully. They blend a lot better, a lot more easily. It helps that there's actual pigmentation to them. There are a couple of colors that are kind of weird. They're just mattes with glitter, like chunks of gold glitter in them. And at first I was like, ooh, I don't really like this. But the more I work with it, I kind of like it. It's kind of different. I haven't really seen that before because the glitter and the matte color themselves aren't necessarily the same shade. Now this little thing here, I honestly feel like I'm being punked when they say, see if I can get this to not be so glare. Trying to reduce the glare some. I feel like I'm being punked when they say that these two shades here are contour shades. I feel like just no. The contour shade is literally the same color as my skin. Like, that wouldn't contour not a single solitary thing on here. And I'm trying to build it up a little bit to see if if it will show at all. And it kind of shows up, but it just looks like a bruise that's on the tail end of healing. It doesn't look very flattering. And then the blush, which I'm assuming that's supposed to be like a deeper sort of blush because it doesn't say blush. These two are put together as like a contour. And once again, I'm just trying to build up the color because it's not very pigmented, which is fine because you don't necessarily want the blush to be overpowering. But that's what that looks like on my skin. But I will say the feeling of these two powders, they feel much better, much softer than the eyeshadows do. The highlight is very, very silver with a bit of a pink undertone. They're not bad shades. There's just no way that these are universal, which in a palette like this, I feel like the shade should be a bit more universal. I'm not necessarily the darkest of humans, so I don't even know how they thought that would be like that those were the three colors to choose from. I feel like you would have to be very fair in order for it to work for you. The brush is standard. I came in a palette and I'll probably never be used brush. I would probably use it to blend out eyeshadow primer because it feels kind of dense. The mascara, I'm not very picky with mascara to begin with. I have very fine eyelashes and they're long and they're curled, but I don't have very dense eyelashes. So I find that this just kind of does what all mascaras do for me and clump my lashes together to make it look like I have even fewer lashes than I actually do. It doesn't do anything to particularly lengthen or curl anymore. It's kind of soft, which I like. I like a softer mascara, and it's kind of a weird texture. It's the most gel-like mascara I've ever used. It's kind of translucent in person. It's very odd. Don't love it. I don't hate it. I rarely ever love mascaras though, so I don't think that that's on Tarte. That's on me and my genetics. And then lastly, the lip gloss. It's a nice gloss. This is a universal shade. This right here, just a really great mauve-y, pinky, nudie kind of color. It's opaque enough to where the color shows up, but it still shears out to where it doesn't look too light on my skin tone. I feel like that's a shade that anybody could wear. If you're a little bit darker, you may need a lip liner. If you're a little bit lighter, you might want to blot it because it might look really more brown on with your complexion. But overall, it's a good lip gloss. Overall, I would have to give this palette 2.5 out of 5 snowflakes. I mean, there's just nothing very exceptional about it. Color selection in the eyeshadows is mediocre at best. This little removable palette here is a super bust unless you are of a fairer complexion. If you're interested in any of the colors here, I would probably check out some of their more permanent collections, some of their more permanent items to see if there were any sort of dupes. Next up in my series, I'll be doing the Lorac Mega Pro 3 palette. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, thumbs up this video, thumbs down this video, comment, give me your feedback. Let me know how you think I'm doing, how you think I could improve. Constructive criticism, always welcome here. Until next time, bye guys.